Everybody, it's Valerie Ling here. Good morning. I am a clinical psychologist and I have the privilege of leading the people at the Center for Effective Living. And hi, it's Valerie here. This morning, I wanted to share a story with you that occurred a little while ago, and I tucked it away in my head, wanting to come on live and talk about it a little bit. And that is a bit of a habit that I have when I'm cooking in a hurry. And it goes a little bit like this. In my mind, it seems like a really efficient way to cook. So, what I do is I think of typically really only cook about two dishes at a time, and I think about what is the base sauce that both dishes share in common. Awesome. Then I start with the first dish that has this base sauce and I cook it all up and I remove the stuff that's in the often the fry pan, and it's on still on the heat. And then I put the next batch of stuff in there and I cook it all up. And then, hey presto, I've got like one pan that's dirty, two dishes that had the similar base, and I'm done. Very often, though, what tends to happen is that, other than the fact that I now have two dishes that are essentially the one dish because they pretty much just taste the same, the second dish inadvertently looks pretty horrible because the charred bits in the pan were not cleaned out. And the color of the second dish is often pretty yuck because it's had everything else that the first dish had. And arguably, it probably tastes a little better, but hey, let's just say it's not something that you're going to serve up on MasterChef for presentation. As I was the last time I did this, I thought to myself, hey, this is a lot like life at times when you think that you're going to go from one space to another, to another, to another, to another, particularly when you're working with people or when you are in contact with people, thinking, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. This will be a really efficient way to do it. I can have 3 meetings in a row, or I can go out, hang the washing, then come and play with some Play Doh with the kids, and then go out and meet my friend. And we think that's a really efficient way to do it because we're squeezing a whole bunch of things into one single space. The reality is, a lot like my cooking, you're going to have leftover residue of thoughts and feelings and stress and frustration, unless all of those spaces are very joyful. That could happen. It isn't always the case. And you get all this sticky stuff that's just sticking to you because you're going from one space to another, to another, to another, to another. And what can often happen is it just gets too much for us. And by the second or the third space, we are at the point where we are feeling harassed or stressed or frustrated or annoyed because there's accumulation. And what I mean by cooking people is we can then either burst out in tears or burst out in anger, and inadvertently, the people around us cop it because we've had this accumulation. So I just want to put it out there, much like the way that I cook, it is probably not that efficient to go from one space to another. It's probably a little bit more delicious and maybe a little bit more clarified for ourselves and the people around us if we figure out what our baseline is for how many meetings or things or movements we can actually really handle in a day. At my season of life, I can probably handle two minor ones in a day and one major one. So two minor ones might mean two little meetups. One major one might be a big 3 hour thing. So we figure out what your baseline is. What can you actually manage? And maybe figure out your baseline for the week as well. Can you do an everyday with people thing? Or is yours more a once a week type of thing? Or is yours pretty much, weekends is not great because it's a collision of sources, if you like. Everybody is home and you're running around doing errands. Figure out what your baseline is. Second thing is figure out how you're going to start spacing things apart according to those baselines. Saying no to triple meetups during the day, being able to say, well, let's not book it in this week. How about we try for 3 weeks later? And just feeling what it's like to actually just space things out. It gives you some time to let your emotions come down to baseline, figure out what you're thinking and feeling, sit, eat, drink for yourself, go to the toilet, listen to your own needs and your own thoughts before rushing off and filling it up with other people's. Those are my thoughts for this morning. Have a great day.